Hello friends, we're painting toy soldiers. Still going with these little guys. Hope you've all had a good week. I have indeed had a good week. But hello Doms, hello Time Stop. But yes, this project that I'm working on now, how best to describe it? It's been... Normally when I start a SPIRA, I power through and I just am painting all the time. Hasn't been the case with this one, and I was trying to figure out why. I can't really give you an answer. I've done a little bit of painting off camera, but yeah, not as much as I would have normally done for a SPIRA. So yeah, that's a situation we find ourselves in. So I think the solution is just keep painting. Just keep painting little bits, and even if I'm not painting for many hours at a time, just keep painting the little guy. Geyser. Because eventually something will happen, and we'll start to feel the vibe. Hello, paint liquor. Yeah, so we had SMC the weekend just gone. Yeah, it's a good way of describing it. But I don't know. I don't necessarily think these guys are looking ugly at the moment. I think they're actually they're shaping up reasonably well. For the moment. I think, mate, what I think it is, I was trying to reflect on it this morning so I'd have something to talk about. I think it might be the fact that there's 7 of them. You know, every other SPIRA I've painted, every other bust I've painted generally, there's just been the one. And with the dungeon friends, I just painted them one at a time. And here I'm kind of painting all 7 of them at the same time. And I think that's making it feel like I'm making no progress. I am making progress. But yeah. Yeah, I couldn't give you a more specific analysis if I tried. Because I don't sit here and go, I'm not enjoying painting this. I am. And I'm not sitting here going, this is going very badly and I don't like it. Which I do sometimes when I'm painting. Yeah, this guy, I mucked around with him a little bit more than the others in terms of his skin, so that was kind of where I was hoping I'd end up, and then I'll do some airbrushing and yeah, make it all a little bit smoother. Yeah, I'm not sure which one's which. I guess this guy's sneezy, this guy's sleepy. That's the only two I remember. I don't really know any others. That one's probably Happy. Is it Happy? Is Happy one? I think Happy's one. Farty. I didn't know there was a Seven Dwarf called Farty. Mossy probably thinks that's me. Hello, No Mana Man. Grumpy, sleepy, sneezy, and bashful. Which one do we think bashful is? Probably this guy. He looks like bashful. Sleepy, sneezy, happy, Doc. Doc? I should probably update that, shouldn't I? Oh, yeah. I just jumped on this morning. There you go. That should say 26th now. Yeah, obviously very prepared for stream today. No, once again, I just thought I'd jump on and have a paint. As I said, it's more important to paint than anything else, even if you're not vibing it. It's 7:13 a.m. for me. I'm doing a stream this morning with Bra Mithra, Kingdom Death, YouTuber, content creator, as it were. Doing that in about 3 hours' time. I'm actually the opposite. I'm east, but I'm in Queensland, Brisbane, which is northeast. So we don't have daylight savings time. Yep, that'll be recorded in about an hour's time. 2 hours. What did I say? 3 hours time. And then yeah, I'm not sure when he'll put it out, but at some point, one would imagine. So I don't know if I've talked about this much on camera yet. Maybe I have. But we ordered the models for the next diorama. So we're underway. The plan is set on the next big diorama project, and I've been mulling over the design. So I am ready to, I think, talk about it on this morning's stream. It is indeed the dinosaur one, yes. So I'm glad I have talked about it, but I've had a bit of time mulling over the design. One of the things that I try and think about before I commence with a project is what it's going to look like, and what base I use to put it on. Sounds like a small thing for most dioramas, you just grab a base, right? But this one, I have to think about very, very big bases and what I'm going to use. Well, I was at our local department store the other day, and I was walking past the homewares section, and I found this bowl, and I looked at it and I thought, gee, you know, that would be perfect. And yeah, so that's basically what's struck me with inspiration, is walking past this bowl. So let's talk about it a little bit. Over on my shelf of stuff over there, I've already got a Lazy Susan. So Lazy Susan's a thing that spins around, but it's just it's not like an electronic one like Camelot was. But yeah, so I'm gonna have a Lazy Susan like this, right? It's quite flat, and then yeah, I've got a big shelf of all sorts of shit up there, and then this bowl is going to sit in the middle, and this bowl's got this sort of shape. It's got like this nice curve as well down here. So I'm going to attach the bowl to the Lazy Susan. Alright, this is the plan so far. I've got to actually buy the things and make sure it's going to work. But yeah, this is a bowl. Alright. So that's what it's going to look like for now. But then all this stuff down here is just going to be plants. So I'm going to put plants all over this Lazy Susan, right? And have this be an underground, jungly type thing. It's not actually going to be underground, it's just going to be jungle. And then I might put one of the little skink guys down here, maybe, we'll see. Depending on the height. Maybe not. And then, so we've got this bowl, right? So let's do the bowl like this now. Circular bowl. So I'm going to build the bowl up like this. So this area is all recessed. And we'll pour some water in there. So this is going to be water. And then this part is going to be like a rocky build up. And then we'll go back to front on view now. So this is front on view. We're going to put one of those old school lizard man temples, you know, with the little faces. So lizard man temples were always like those ziggurats, those Cambodian Mayan style architecture. So I'm going to find a 3D print. I haven't found one yet, but I'm going to put that, I reckon, here. And my intention is that this is going to be viewable from the 360, right? So I want the temple to basically fill a rectangular shape like so. And so it's going to be this sort of height, and on top of it is going to be some of the models. We'll go have a look at the models in a second, but yeah. So this is going to be models and then some other models here. The rest of this is going to be built up like jungle, and all the little lizard man models are going to be coming out of the jungle, different directions, and maybe one in the water, coming out of the water. So it's going to sort of look like this. Alright, so that's where we're at. That's the theory of the scene so far. And then you'll be able to spin it around. So that's pretty cool. I like the idea of spinning it around. No Seraphon models. Don't be ridiculous. How dare you? We don't use tiny little figures for our dioramas, my good man. We use these. These hands. Now let's have a look. So this is a Radia Miniatures. So that's Quetzalcoatl. We've got him coming in. Delightful. The Ankylosaurus beast. What a legend. So I don't think I got her. Actually, let me check my list. I didn't want there to be any human models. I wanted it to be all dinosaurs. Except for maybe one. Let me check if I ordered her. No, I did order her. Did I? Oh no, I didn't want her. That's okay. We'll figure it out. This big unit, the Triceratops Warrior. What a legend. Oh, there's a roaring one. Maybe that's a Kickstarter exclusive, actually. Well, he's got all sorts of different heads. This guy, the Apatosaurus Warrior. What a superstar. This gigantic thing. Hang on, have I got him? Stegazar? Did I order him? No. You can't get him. He might have been Kickstarter exclusive. Yeah, you couldn't get him. Which is a shame because he's awesome. But I got that one, which is the Titanosaurus Rex. Maybe I didn't get him. Didn't get that little guy, I got him. He's a little skink, so he might be in the underground because he's like a chameleon skink. And I got him. He looks awesome. I think he's a human head. He's got a little monkey on him. What a champion. And there's actually a few other ones that they released. Maybe we'll just go to their website. It's a Kickstarter. Yeah, so it's fully sick, right? I love these guys. These guys do sick models. I think I've done a diorama of theirs already. Yeah, Hyperborea. I did a diorama with all the Hyperborea models, which is nice. Anyway. So I've got this guy. I've got this. I 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 got this. And I got this. So I've got all the ones that are available to purchase on the website. There you go. So how we're going to put those on the base? Not sure yet. We'll figure it out. But that's going to be the next diorama, which is exciting. So finding inspiration is often the thing that triggers me into these sorts of projects when I'm like, how do I go about putting those together on a base? And then I'll just be thinking, and then suddenly I'll be walking at my local Kmart or Bunnings and go, ooh, that could work. That could make for an interesting thing that I could build. And the next thing that happens is I spend thousands of dollars to buy all this crazy stuff. I don't really set myself a goal as such, although it's sort of been more than that on average the last few years. I mean, last year was Neon Knights and the big vampire undead one, but it sort of fell into the next year, and then yeah. I mean, if you look over my Instagram, you'll see it's sort of probably averaging more like 2 a year, but not two massive ones. It's sort of been one huge one and then one sort of smaller one. But yeah, again, I don't really like sit there and go, all right, it's diorama time. I just know that that's what I want to create. And so I come up with ways to do that. I haven't done a Kingdom Death diorama. Actually, I have many years ago, but I haven't done one recently. I wonder why that is. Mostly because the models that I buy, I want to use them in my game, so I don't want to glue them to a base. Yeah, I've got an upside down pariah sitting there, and that's what I want to do, and I want to give that one away. But yeah, that one's probably a next year project. Maybe. Go top. Yeah, the 15th anniversary survivors are great models, absolutely great, but I've used them a lot in my games. So I'll tell you the other thing, my figures that I paint for display are generally bigger ones because I feel like my eyesight's getting worse. It's not been noticeable until recently, in the last year or so. Can't focus as well as I used to be able to focus on things. Yeah, I could do magnifiers because I know my hand-eye coordination hasn't decreased. I'm still able to be very steady-handed. But yeah, I can't focus, particularly in the morning. Actually, I do notice it a lot more in the morning when when I sit down and paint at this time of day, my eyes are just like... Anyway, that's okay. I turned 42 this year, and I actually went and got my eyes tested because Mossy told me I had to, so I did. And they said, your eyes are very, very good. And I said, thank you, that's wonderful. And they said, what you will find is that at this age, things are going to start to get worse. You'll start to see little spots, and you'll find it harder to focus, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, huh, okay. Something to look forward to. And that's fine. I mean, I've been painting figures for 30 years. 30 years of figure painting. It's going to do just a little bit of damage. All that short focus. Short memory must have a bum 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 short memory. It is what it is. I am very, very grateful for the many years of tremendous miniature painting I've been able to do. Did Dave or I start painting miniatures first? I would almost certainly say me. I don't think DC was painting figures. He was a lot more. He was actually a rock star when he was a younger guy. He was like into racing cars and street racing and chopping up chicks. What a legend. No, I started playing D&D with a group of friends when I was in grade 3. Necromunda, grade 5. Even Warhammer, like grade 3 as well. So, yeah, for me it's been a long, long time. Which isn't to say it hasn't been a long time for DC, but I don't think he was quite as early as I was. Should also point out that he's significantly better than me, so the time doesn't make much difference. So my intent is to bring a lot of crazy colours and contrast into this, and then airbrush it all down. I've tried to use like cold colours on this side for highlighting, sort of, and then I'm going to try and airbrush some cold light on that side. I've tried to use mostly warm colours for the other highlights, and we'll see if that works. Dave and I, there was a period there where we were both competing against each other in the early days of the Crystal Dragon, and you could make an argument back in that time that we were fighting off to be best painter in Australia, long time ago. And that statement is of course absolutely false, because Glenn Lamprecht exists and Sebastian Archer exists, but I guess the current painter. And then we just ended up diverging very different paths. I started painting dioramas and he started going into hyper detail, and we just ended up at completely opposite ends of the spectrum. So I do stuff that's very quick and very big, and he does stuff that takes a long time but is absolutely stunning. So objectively, he is a far superior painter to me, and that is something that I am very comfortable in both acknowledging, highlighting, and yeah. And he's also nicer than me too. Sounds crazy, but he's just willing to give everyone time. People message him and he'll write fucking hours of stuff to them, trying to help them. Someone messages me asking for help, I'll be like, you need to practice more, champion. And then that's it. That's true. Young Craigsog, that is true. So, I don't know if I mentioned that I was going to do this, but I started doing it. I've separated my board game streams and my painting streams. I do my painting streams on Twitch, and I do my board game streams on YouTube. So you may have noticed that I have streamed a little bit less on Twitch recently. But if you were to go over to my YouTube channel, you would see that I've done a number of streams on there. So for people that are only here for the miniature painting, stay on Twitch, and that is where you will find all of my miniature painting. For people that are interested in the stuff that I play board games of, you can find that on my YouTube channel. I do very much toe that line. However, very often I skirt over the line into just being a straight up dickhead. A lot less than I did when I was younger though. Man, I was not a nice young person. Tried. But it's all because of ego, basically, I think. Ego and privilege. I lived a very fortunate life, and I didn't really appreciate that. Has that happened? Have they confirmed that yet? Is he? Oh no, that's today, isn't it? Not tonight. I do also have to add autism to that mix, which was something we were not really aware of when I was growing up. Yeah, we're very very fortunate to have Albert coming to Crimson, and I'm looking forward to, as someone who has seen his work in the flesh, I'm looking forward to seeing people's brains just melt when they see his work in the flesh, because it is beyond the majority of what we've seen and feel like he's capable of in Australia. You know, I've criticised Dave many times for having too much smoothness and losing a little bit of the magic that comes in miniature painting because he's too technical and too perfect. But I've never made that criticism of Albert, because his work is full of all of these little micro details, and I think one of Dave's pieces, one of the best ones that I told him I love this. This is where you need to go. Was that he did an orc. He did a crazy orc, orange orc, and it was actually just filled to the brim with all of these crazy colours and stuff, but it really blended together. I'll see if I can find it actually. Instagram, Dave Colwell. Yeah, he doesn't post much these days, so I should be able to find it pretty quickly. The great man, the great DC. We'll just show while I'm doing this. Yeah, exactly. This was incredible, and I think he actually changed a fair bit, or changed his path after painting that orc. I think it really landed with him. So this strikes the perfect Dave Colwell, I think, because it is immaculately blended, but then there's all these little details that you can see when you zoom in. And if you look at I think he does some zooms on the metal and stuff. Maybe it's in his next post. Look at the colours. Look at the colours that he gets in this metal buckle there. Look at that. And then see that? So you don't read that from a distance, but it actually just lands so well when you zoom in. And I was like, Dave, this is it, mate. This is you. This is what you got to do. Is fucking just push the shit out of this style. And I feel like, because if you look at some of his stuff before that, it's technically incredible, right? There's no disputing that DC is the man. This was great too, actually. But I challenged him and said, sometimes I think you are just too clean. Anyway, I'm not saying I'm responsible for Dave's painting. That's a not a claim that I would like to make. But that piece to me highlighted what he was capable of, and I feel like since then he's just dropped banger after banger. But anyway, the point that I was trying to make with all of that gibberish was that Albert is exactly the same. Albert's style is just incredible, is incredibly clean. But when you get close, you see all of these different little nuances that bring it alive. And yeah, it's something pretty special. So I'm really excited, and I'm hopeful that he'll bring some of his work. I feel confident that he will, but I should actually speak to him about it, really. Even if he doesn't, what a privilege for us to have a painter of his calibre coming over. It has definitely been an impressive Golden Demon. I'll tell you the other part of the magic of what he does that we don't talk about enough. He is just one of the loveliest people. Very humble, very well regarded. I remember when I was at Monty for the first time. I found myself at a little cafe just near the castle where they have all the stuff, and I was just ordering, I don't know, a beverage or something. And there's Sergio Calvo Rubio, one of my heroes at the time, and now as well, I suppose, but definitely at the time I was like, oh my god, that's Sergio. And he was talking to Albert. And Albert made a point of coming and talking to me. Like, he actually was just super keen to have a chat and invited me into the conversation with him and Sergio. Yeah, two people stood out for me at Monty and made a real impact on me, which was and my first one, which was Marco and Alexandra from Craft World. They came over and just was so genuinely happy to see me. And there's very few people in the world that are genuinely happy to see me, let's also highlight. And yeah, Albert was the other one, because he just, every time he was walking past, he'd stop and have a chat and ask how I was going. And yeah, I don't actually know if I've ever told him or Alex and Marco that. I really should probably say that to him. I've been on Mossy's case recently about telling people if they mean something to you to actually say it. Yeah, exactly. And rightly so, Cragzog. Rightly so. Another wonderful Scrubs reference. Elliot Reed, Moment Killer. Alright, I reckon we might do we do some airbrushing? I mean, the answer is always yes, but do we do some airbrushing now? I am not sure. Now let's do some of this brown, some of this brownie brown. Let's use a rich mahogany. Yes, mahogany. So rich. I'm pretty excited about that diorama, actually. I'm pretty keen to build something big and paint some of those dinosaurs. I'm not running short of ideas, I should say, but certainly I'm running short of miniature ranges. Because what I like to do for my crazy big dioramas, where is this colour I'm looking for fuck's sake? There it is. Yeah. Is I just like to grab a miniature range and be like, yes, this is the selection for my diorama. Tremendous. But I'm running short of those. The next one that I have on my list is the Orc pirate ship. So I want to build, not necessarily build with my own two hands, but just have a pirate ship, or part of a pirate ship, and all those awesome big child orc pirates. Yep. So I've got a few of them over there. Again, what I want to do is make it a little bit different. I want to have them be like the pirates out of, what's that fucking movie? Stardust. One of my all-time favourite movies ever. Stardust. Great film. If you haven't watched it, do yourself a solid and go out and watch it right now. Stop watching this. And start watching Stardust. Michelle Pfeiffer, absolute babe. Claire Danes, absolute babe. It's got freaking De Niro playing the best character. It's got three of the all-time characters that have come forward into superhero roles. It's got Henry Cavill. It's got Charlie Cox, and it's got Ben Barnes, who have all played characters in Marvel TV shows / movies / DC. It is just the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. It's not Pirates 2 Stagnetti's Revenge, unfortunately, Craigsog. Although, I do recommend that film. If that is a type of cinema that you're interested in. Indeed. Keep you down, you're the best around. Nothing gonna keep you down. Oopsie. But yes, in Stardust, there is a character played by Robert De Niro. And he is the captain of a pirate ship that sails through the sky collecting lightning. And that's a good one. That's a good get. Anyway, yes, so that is the vision I have. So I'll have a sky ship, a dirigible, I believe they're called. I'm going to look that up now because I don't actually know if that is what it means. Let's find out. Dirigible. I love learning things. A dirigible capable of being steered, guided, or directed. An airship, dirigible balloon, or dirigible is a type of aerostat aerocraft that can navigate through the air flying under its own power. Cool. Yes, that sounds very similar to a collection of my friends, mate, who did a thing called a porn and prawn night. Get your mates together, have some prawns, and see where the night takes you. What was that sound, I wonder? Is that one of my lights popping? Interesting. No, mate. No, none of that. I never said I participated in those evenings. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. So we are actually 3 months away from Crimson to the day. This will be the commencement of the third day of Crimson, 26th of Jan. The judging will have been run and won, and hopefully everyone will have had a wonderful time. I am wrestling with myself at the moment if this is going to be my last Crimson as an organiser. And let me explain my thought process. So I've basically been doing Crimson / Crystal Dragon for close to 10 years. I think I've done it for 8 years. So I took over from Meg when it was Crystal Dragon, and I did 3 years of it. And it was wonderful. I had a wonderful time. And then COVID happened, and we had to decide what we were going to do. And we ended up doing it. Turning it into what it is now, the behemoth, the juggernaut that it is now in the Crimson Brush. And yeah, we when I say we, I mean it was mostly me for the first few years, but now it's a group collaborative effort between myself, Ben, Storm, Bucks, a few other people have contributed as well, Jared, Tim. And it's now at a point where it's not a small job. It used to be a pretty small job back in the days of Crystal Dragon. You know, I'd do very little preparatory work. And just rock up and enter some things. I mean, I think we had 50 entries one year, and we were excited that we cracked 50. We cracked 300 this year. So it's 6 times the work. It's 6 times the photos. It's 6 times the editing. And then as you get more people attending, those more people come with added challenges, expectations, and you want to meet or exceed those expectations where you can. And then I compounded that by deciding for Crimson that I was going to stream it. And so we've actually streamed Crimson every year. And that's been great. It's been really great. I think it's contributed to the growth of the event. I think it's contributed to the growth of Australian display painting in a big way. I'm pretty happy with that decision to do that. However, I drive down from Brisbane to Canberra so that I can take all my streaming gear, which means I have to leave the day before setup to drive down. So I drive down, I spend the next day setting up, I spend the next 3 days running the event, packing down, and then drive home. It's basically a full week from start to finish. And it's a satisfying week, but it is a lot. It is a full week of work. And so when you sort of separate that because at the same time, I have my gaming group that I play with on a Tuesday night. Wonderful people. They all go down, and I'm very blessed that they drive down. Some of them drive down with me, and we have a laugh along the way, and we play board games pretty much all the spare time that I'm not at the event, which isn't as much as I would like. They play board games all weekend, the fucking pests. So anyway, there's this wonderful weekend where I have to contribute a huge amount of time and effort, and I'm wiped out by the end of it. And I get to the end of that, and I basically need to take a holiday from my holiday. Because I have to take a week off work, and then I need to take another week generally after that to recover. So that's 2 weeks of the year of my holidays that are gone for the purposes of running that event. Not to mention that I miss out on the opportunity with my gaming group friends to actually just hang out, spend time, play games away from home, away from responsibilities, which is, awesome weekend for those guys. So that's where I sort of have to, I keep weighing this decision up. I'm like, well, I do like what I do at Crimson, and I feel like it's adding value for people, and it's certainly adding value for me. Like, it's nice to have built something. And then I'll talk about the other side of it, which is the side that's very, very difficult, but it doesn't matter what I do on that weekend. There will always be a number of people who complain, who are unhappy with what's been done, or who want more. And a fantastic example of that, on the third day, in the midst of pack up, I get messages from people asking me when the photos are going up, and can I have a copy of my photos, and why aren't the photos up yet? Every time. And I'm not talking like one person. I'm talking like 15 people will be like, hey, can I have a copy of my photos? And I will literally be packing the fucking weekend up and going back to my Airbnb that I've paid $1,000 for, getting ready to drive home at 5 a.m. the next day. It's people like, hey man, can I just have a copy of my photos? Just on my photos, man. Hey, why haven't you uploaded the photos yet? It is a demoralizing experience. And I think to myself, wow, how nice would it be to just go down to CanCon, spend time with my mates, play some games, rock up to the painting room, check out some cool models, head off. You know, sounds like a delight. So, the streaming is driven entirely by me. I'm not really sure I could get anyone else to take over that responsibility, and I've tried to give as much of that away as possible. Bucks actually is the one who organises all of the stream and talks on the stream. So really, I've given away as much responsibility as I can. I just spend a lot of time in the background, switching camera angles, organising things, because it's not really a perfect setup for streaming that we have in the room, and having to organise it in a way that will allow us to stream all the little things we want to stream, like the judging, the interviews, miniatures and stuff. It requires some shifting and moving of things around quite frequently because of the fact that it's not set up perfectly. So, and there is definitely other people who have the ability to do stream stuff. I just don't know if those people are interested in moving it around every half an hour to make sure that it's exactly right. Photos, again, Dave takes all the photos. Every year I've managed to get people to help take the photos, ferry models back and forth. Dave's an excellent photographer. He's able to get really top quality videos, and last year I was able to get him to run a program to edit them, which saved me about 6 to 8 hours. So I've handed over as much of that as I can as well. Dave, Bucks is he's actually been full on in. He's opening a new store. It actually opened this weekend, I believe. It's going to be the biggest store in Australia for the company that he works for. I'm pretty sure we've talked about he works for Warhammer store. So he does still paint, but he's had a lot of his focus taken up with that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, he was at PAX. Yep. So were Ben and Bunny. They did the paint and take for Let's Play games. So that's the situation I find myself in. How'd you go? Was she what? Why? She likes it. And Craig's dog too. Sorry, you indeed did help, or was more involved. I don't actually know what happened there, mate. I wasn't there, so. But I know you were with it. So the question of, can I give over that stuff to other people and still be involved? I've tried to do that the last few years. Tried to hand over as much responsibility as I can to other people, and it's still just a very big weekend. Good on you, mate. Where's that held? Hello, Ellie. Did you have a good time? Have a good time at your little morning training session? What has caught my eye at Essen? That's a good question, Match Fixer. And thank you for asking about my other passion in board gaming, because I appreciate it. There's a new adventure game designed by Vlada Schwartil, although I don't know if he's actually designed it or if it's just using his name. And I can't recall the name of it right now, but that one does look pretty interesting. And then the Meeple University friends did a little review / rules teach on a pirate game that was a pirate / Euro game that also caught my eye. A couple of years ago, I went to SMC and had an amazing time, wonderful time. And at the awards ceremony, this was 2018, I reckon. At the awards ceremony, I was sitting at a table with another Aussie bloke. Can't remember his name. He just sort of sat down and he was like, "Oh, g'day." I was like, "Oh, g'day, Aussie." He's like, "Yeah, man." And he was just a miniature painter, but a real, respectfully, average one. But he just said to me, "Oh, I've been at Essen. I was at Essen on the weekend before, because it was the weekend before SMC." And I was like, "Oh, cool. What's that?" Because I had no idea what it was at the time. And now I was like, man, if I go and do a SMC / Monty trip, you better be sure I'm going to Essen along at the same time. Anyway, so that random guy is living my best life. He very excitedly cheered for me when I got up on stage with my silver medal too, so that's nice. That's on camera too. Yeah, big shows. Big shows. I think CanCon gets... I may be wrong, so don't quote me, but I think it gets 25,000 over the weekend, over the whole weekend. That is... And that's a pretty huge event. Feels like a pretty huge event when you're there. True. Well, we will be heading off shortly because Mossy and I are going to the Jimbo, aren't we, Moss?
Oh yeah, baby.
Before I record my Kingdom Death videos with Mossy's favourite YouTuber. What's his name, Moss?
Who?
That I'm recording with?
Bar mitzvah.
Apparently it's Bar Mitzvah. That's what she calls him. G'day, Barnardo. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, new friends. I'm Big Deno. Paint little toy soldiers. Pretty badly, but we do our best. But generally what I do is do big dioramas, and I've prepared some for you. Here they are. Here's the first one that I've done. This one was done about 4 years ago. It's called Camelot. Da-na-na-na-na. What are you doing in here, dog? There is quite a bit of work in that one. Thank you, Tato Chip. But I've basically done a diorama like this over the last couple of years. So that's Camelot. Here's another one that I did called Hyperborea. Oh, it's coming, baby. The hardest thing to do with those videos, by the way, recording those videos, is the lighting. And guess what? We've got one more, and I've done more than this, but I've only got really 3 videos. No, I've got 4 now. How good's that? Neon Nights. This one's called Neon Nights. So you've joined at a great time, because I'm about to start a new one, probably in the next month or 2. This one lights up, and it's got fluorescent paint, so it looks sick under a black light. Yeah, those ones are from Nico Galaxy. So yeah, I basically just take a range of models. And then the last one, which I've finished quite recently, this one's called Dance Macabre. It's not as impressive, this video. Pull this off my grams. So anyway, stick around if you want to see shit like that. However, very important caveat, they don't look like that really quickly. They take a while, and you get to see me having a complain over that period of time as well. Very true. And there's a great quote that I like from someone, which is, nothing of worth ever comes easy. I don't know who quoted. I think it might be a Dresden Files, maybe. If anyone can tell me where that quote comes from, I'd love to know. There's a lot of fantastic miniature painters out there, mate. So, and it's a wonderful time to be in the hobby. You can learn a lot from a lot of different people. Yes, so I will be unfortunately taking off very shortly. Mossy and I are off to the gym, as I said. We're just doing a graph. Teddy Roosevelt's got my favourite quote of all time, by the way. It is not the critic who counts. One of my favourite quotes of all time. It's the man in the arena. And if he fails while daring greatly. Great quote. I might have to get this actually. There's a framed version of this. There you go, maybe I'll get that. Maybe I'll buy that for my wall. Nor the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end of the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither knew victory nor defeat. Tremendous. Also a good quote from Dr. John Dorian. Alright, I've got 1 more minute, so let's make it count, Deno. Let's make it count. Let's make it count. So we'll do some sweet airbrushing on these beards and stuff that'll tone down how desaturated they are at the moment. So they all look quite desaturated, but when we airbrush some contrast paints, we'll add that saturation back in, soften everything out a bit, and hopefully this will all come alive. We'll do the same with the skin. We'll hopefully soften the skin up a bit. My favourite Bob Kelso quote will always be, Bob Kelso, 10 inches. And then the other guy says, it's like a baguette. Alright friends, let's do a raid because we've got some new people here, so let's raid for them. I think I can do that through here. Stream Manager. Yes, alright, let's find out who's on Twitch that we should raid. Thanks, Paint Liquor. Art of Mike Disney, Pun Expected. Oh, you can knock on people. Mike Disney's good. Let's have a look. We'll do a quick search for miniature painting. Let's see if there's anyone new. Pats and Paints. I see someone painting a bust. Painty Paint Paints. Yeah. Let's go raid Painty Paint Paints. It's painting a sick bust. Alright. Raid. How do I find them in here? Search.
Thank you for being here, Chase.
There we go. Boom.
How's your time in Battlefield? Are you winning, son?
That's where we're at so far. I'll zoom out a bit because it looks a bit better when you zoom out. There you go. Anyway, that's it, friends. What? We're unable to raid Painty Paint Paints at this time. Have they got you can't raid on them? That's unfortunate. See you, friends. Anyway, go follow this guy. Painting a bust. I'll try one more time, just in case I pressed the wrong button. Start raid. Can't raid him. Alright, we'll try someone else.
100%. The creator of this problem. Big Back is here. Hello, Mickey.
Okay, we're raiding someone else.
And it's Colorblome coming in with her dual witch. Yeah. We're working on non-skin tone. I'm working on the lower half. You like my freehand?